Hello and welcome everyone to the Chicago Scholars Virtual College Fair. We are so thrilled to have you today. We've got a great group of institutions. I'm going to turn it over to them in just a moment, but a few housekeeping announcements before we get started. You may use the Q&A button on your screen to type your questions to our presenters at any time, but please do know that your camera and your microphone are off so our panelists cannot see or hear you. If you have questions for any or all of our institutions, you don't have to wait until a certain institution is presenting. Go ahead and use that Q&A function at any time. This is one of many different sessions happening today, so please be sure to sign up for additional sessions. We've also got an event taking place tomorrow, so take a look. And this presentation, along with all of the other sessions today, are all being recorded and will be available within about a week at strivescan.com/Chicago Scholars. I'll put that link in the chat for you. Also in the chat for you, I'm going to drop a link where you can sign in and make sure to record your attendance. So please take a moment to do that as well today. All right, that's all for me. Now I'm going to turn it over to the main event. Kicking us off today is Cornell College. Take it away whenever you're ready.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen to tell you a little bit more about Cornell College. My name is Megan Kuhn. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I am an Associate Director of Admission and Chicago Regional Representative for Cornell. So that means you're Chicago Scholars. I live in Chicago too. So I'm always around and I work exclusively with students from the Chicagoland area. To kick things off, of course, here I am talking about Cornell College. I'm a 2015 alum of Cornell as well. We are a small, private, liberal arts college located in Mount Vernon, Iowa, founded all the way back in 1853. But honestly, the most important thing that I can tell you about Cornell College is actually our academic calendar. We do things pretty differently on our campus. So Cornell is one of just a few colleges in the entire nation that operates on a one course at a time academic calendar. So this calendar that you're seeing on screen is our calendar from this last academic year. Cornell students take one class for 3.5 weeks. Then you get a 4.5-day break, and then you go on to your next class. So as you can see in a standard year, we have 8 classes, much like you take on a traditional semester schedule, plus 2 optional summer classes. Those were added in due to the kind of complications due to the pandemic. So typically students are in 8 classes a year. And as you look at this calendar, each one of these little colorful blocks represents time that you're spending in class. As you can see, classes take place Monday through Friday. Of course, you get your weekends. You know, we're not monsters. We don't expect you to study all the time. And classes take place from 9 to 11, and then again from 1 to 3 in the afternoon. And because we're in one class for about 4 hours a day, that's why we don't rely a lot on lecture-based learning. You know, no one wants to get lectured at for 4 hours a day. Anybody would be banging their head against a wall. So we rely a lot more on the hands-on, more experiential side of learning. This is also helpful because our average class size is 16 and they're capped at 25. So you'll never be in a lecture hall full of hundreds of students with a professor or a TA who doesn't even know your name. Your professor will get to know you and your classmates really quickly. And we have been doing this one course at a time calendar since the 70s. So we're pretty used to it by now. The best thing about the block plan from the perspective of a former student myself is that you can learn without boundaries. Our classes just happen where they make sense. So if you're a natural sciences major, someone in biology, chemistry, something like that, you're going to have long stretches of time in the lab. Folks who are interested in theater can devote an entire block to performance. And this also includes our study abroad experiences. You can go abroad for just a month at a time or more extended trips if that's what you're interested in. But all of these blocks are incredibly immersive experiences. That's really the bedrock of Cornell education. We are a liberal arts institution, and we encourage you to have this area of exploration. And because we want you to explore, we don't expect you to come in knowing exactly what you want to do. Undecided is the most popular major for first-year students at Cornell. And if you are coming in undecided, we have an entire team of people who are around to help you through that research kind of process. So we know the transition from high school to college can be really daunting. So we really stack the deck with people who are available to help you through that transition. This is your first year success team. So you'll have your first year seminar professor. So that's a full-time faculty member teaching the class that you take. But you also have your first year seminar success instructor. That's a full-time staff member, someone like me, who is there to help you with study skills, time management, different things like that. In addition to working with an academic advisor, that's another full-time faculty member who's helping you pick out your classes, along with the assistance of an upper class student mentor. This could be your orientation leader, your residence hall assistant, all these different folks who are there to help you immerse yourself in our Cornell community, because we do have a pretty tight-knit campus community. We have a lot of different services available on campus. So this is just a beautiful picture of part of our historic campus. All of our buildings on campus are part of the National Historic Registry of buildings, and then 93% of our students do choose to stay on campus for all 4 years. I'm going to zoom through these different flag areas so you can see all the different areas of support and involvement that you can have on campus. But of course, this isn't the end of that list. And finally, I know paying for college is daunting. So 99.9% of Cornell students receive financial aid. You're automatically considered for merit-based scholarships when you apply for admission, and those range from $20,000 to $34,000 a year, guaranteed for all 4 years. And this is to say nothing of our Fine Arts Awards, our esports awards. So for any of you gamers out there, please let me know if you're interested in something like that. And additionally, our application is already open. So if you know Cornell College, one course at a time, that's kind of the thing for you. Please visit cornellcollege.edu to learn more about our application process and how you can get started there. Finally, I will just go ahead and say, because I am your admission counselor, all you students coming from Chicagoland, I would love to hear from you if you have any questions. So this is my email. If you have anything that pops up, there are no silly questions in the college search process. So feel free to get in contact with me anytime, and I would be happy to answer any questions, any concerns that you have going along the way. So again, thank you so much for tuning in this evening, and I look forward to hearing from you.
Fantastic. What a great way to get us started, Cornell College. Thank you so much. We are going to hear now from American University whenever you are ready.
Okay, thanks so much. Hello, everyone. My name is Marianne Hollander, and I am one of the, stop my video, one of the admissions, assistant directors of admissions at American University. And if you don't know where American University is, we are up in Washington, D.C. This is a picture of our beautiful campus. We're up in Northwest D.C. Here's kind of a map of where we fall within the city. So we kind of get the best of both worlds when it comes to American University. We're about 4 miles from the White House, so you still are super great access to downtown and the hustle and bustle of the big city feel. But we're up in Northwest, which means it's a little bit more of a residential area. There's still a super close metro stop and easy access to the bus system and everything like that. But it's a little bit more quiet up there. We have a very traditional feeling, traditional looking campus. So you kind of get the best of both worlds when it comes to that more traditional college campus feel, but still with the amenities and the fun things that Washington, D.C. has to offer. We have about 14,000 students on campus. We welcomed in one of our largest classes, or will welcome one of our largest classes back on campus in August, which we're really excited about. We have about 8,500 undergraduate students. So you'll definitely have a chance to meet lots of new people, but it's not big enough that you're going to feel like you're lost in the sea of faces. It'll be definitely people that you'll recognize, you'll know through your programs and things like that. So we're mid-sized university, but we're still able to keep kind of our good averages in the classroom. So we have about 23 students in the classes is what our average is, with 11-to-1 student to faculty ratio. And then about a third of our students are students of color. We have students who represent all 50 states and 122 different countries. So you're going to be learning from people from different backgrounds in you, from different areas of the country and the world, which is a really great opportunity to broaden your perspectives and learn from others. We have 6 different colleges and schools at AU. Our 2 biggest majors, as you might imagine, being in DC, are political science and international studies. So those are our most popular majors, but there's still a ton of opportunity for some other ones as well. Our Kogod School of Business is very well known and is really popular as well. They even have kind of a Shark Tank thing. It's called the entrepreneurship incubator. And so you can go and present your idea, and any student can do this. If you have an idea of a nonprofit or a business you want to start, we have faculty, mentors, staff, even professionals who will come in and help students with their ideas. Our School of Communication is really on the rise. It's really popular programs. Journalism is huge right now. We have internships that are reserved for AU communication students all throughout the major media outlets in DC. And they also have film, photography, all those types of things as well. School of Education, what a great place to study education. Washington, D.C., where our national education policy is formed. So you get to learn how to teach in a classroom, and then all the way up to how the biggest policy is made that will address and how it can affect students on a very small level. And then we also have the College of Arts and Sciences, which is our largest school, has a wide variety of programs. We have a brand new Hall of Science. So for all of you STEM majors, we have a brand new facility, state of the art. It actually opened last fall, sadly, to not very many students on campus. So we're really excited to really have students in the labs doing research using the facility this fall when they're back. And while academics are important, they still want our students to have a ton of fun. So we are a Division I NC2A school. So there's lots of sporting events to attend. Student organizations should join, intramurals to do. Greek life is also popular. Lots of ways to get involved, meet friends, stay active on campus, and then also off. So we have internships all throughout DC. About 91% of our students walk across the stage at graduation having had at least one internship, if not 2. And so there's lots of ways to find those internships, and there's ways to get your feet wet in a ton of different industries. So a lot of students come into college not knowing exactly what they want to do. So Washington, D.C., while yes, there's a lot of opportunity if you're interested in politics and policy, law, those types of things, but there's a ton of big businesses based here, nonprofits, advocacy groups, think tanks. The creative arts is really popular as well. We have a ton of museums, a lot of Broadway-bound musicals kind of get their start here. Mean Girls, Hamilton, those both started here. So there's lots of opportunities, like I said, to kind of get your feet wet in a lot of different things and figure out what you really want to do once you graduate. We can also send you further than just out into the city. Studying abroad is a really popular thing. About 70% of our students spend some time overseas while they're with us at AU. And there's lots of ways to do that, whether that's a school-led trip over the summer or winter break or something like that, all the way to a full year overseas. So you can go a semester, a year, lots of ways to do that, lots of different ways to budget that in, whether that's time or money. And we have a whole office that's dedicated to helping students find the program that's right for them and in the place they want to be. We can send you to every continent except Antarctica right now, but if you really wanted to get there, we could probably figure out a way to get you to Antarctica. Just a quick kind of profile of what this is actually fall 2020's incoming class look like. A few caveats: the GPA is a mix of both weighted and unweighted GPAs. Also, we are a test optional school and have been for the past 11 years. So if students do choose to submit a test score, it tends to be one that's higher. So that's why these test scores appear to be pretty high. We accept all different types of students. And if you don't have a great test score that you love, you do not have to submit it to us. So on that note, our 2 major deadlines, early decision, if you're thinking AU sounds really great and I really want to try and go there, early decision is a great option. If you have questions about what that means, you can definitely chat with me. But that early decision 1 deadline is November 15th, and then regular decision as well as early decision 2 is January 15th. There's nothing out of the ordinary that we require from for our application. As I mentioned, we are test optional. We accept the coalition and the common application. And then additionally, really nothing else that special about our application process. We offer both need-based and merit-based aid. You're automatically considered for merit-based aid based on your academics. We award scholarships ranging from $8,000 to $22,000 per year. And I am your admissions representative for the Chicago area, so I will be around this fall, and so hopefully I'll be able to meet you soon. Thanks so much.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, American University. All right, I'm going to turn it over to our next institution, Wake Forest University. As they get their presentation all pulled up, I want to remind everyone that that Q&A function is going. All right, take it away, Wake Forest.
Wonderful, thank you. I'm so glad to be with you all this evening. My name is Susan Faust, and I'm an assistant dean at Wake Forest. I've actually been at Wake Forest for 30 years, going into my 30th year. But I've been here working in admissions for about 6. I also teach part-time in the communication department, so I know what happens in the classroom and can kind of tell you how that really works at Wake Forest. And my 2 children actually graduated from Wake Forest. So I know that the sorts of things that Wake Forest offers are community, certainly academic rigor, and lots of opportunity to explore and expand and develop and become a new and interesting person based on what you're coming in as a high school student. You have lots of opportunities for growth. I welcome my colleague, Cesar Grisales, who's on the Q&A. So if you have questions, he's an alum now working in the admissions office. So please feel free to drop questions there. So Wake Forest University is a private liberal arts, medium-sized institution. We're located in kind of the mountains of North Carolina. As you can see here, we're very close to Charlotte, we're very close to Greensboro, but we are about a 10-minute drive from the city of Winston-Salem, North Carolina. So in that lower right image, you can see the skyline of Winston-Salem. It's not Chicago, but we do have 250,000 people. And in the city, of course, there are lots of things to do, lots of food fairs and art fairs and music festivals, lots of food trucks that tour the city. But one of the things about Wake is we are a 4-season place. So if you like the outdoors, if you like doing things in the spring, if you like doing things in the fall, whether it's camping or running or biking, or just playing, intramural soccer, those are the kinds of things that can happen at Wake Forest. I don't promise good weather all the time, but for the most part it is. So a couple things that when we're talking about Wake Forest, we really do stress, and one is the academic environment. You'll always be in a small class such as these. Our classes are capped at around 20, and our faculty to student ratio is 1:10. So you'll get to know your professors, and those are your first line of support. That's your first relationship. They have office hours, and you can stop in and chat about subject areas, and you can just talk about things that are going on in your life as well. You also have your own advisor for the 4 years, an academic advisor, someone who knows what you're interested in and will help you reach that goal. We have lots of different majors and minors, and so putting together your academic path is something that you get to start thinking about from day one. Of course, our curriculum is based on liberal arts, so you'll be taking classes that perhaps you've not yet had a chance to take, but you might end up with a double major or a major with 2 minors. You can put your areas together as you like. But their community is also, I think, one of the draws along with academics. Our motto is Pro Humanitate, for humankind. And so this idea of service, of doing good, of helping others, things that you're already doing in your high schools and in your communities are things that Wake Forest students are very, very involved in. They're not required, but you'll find them doing fundraisers or repurposing food to go into the city, all sorts of ways. And you can participate or even start your own club or your own event. So the campus itself is very busy and vibrant. It is an intellectual community, and so there is obviously a social part, but there's also a lot to do in terms of the arts. You can get involved. You don't have to sit on the sidelines or be in the audience. We are a Division I school, so there's a lot of activity on the campus or nearby at our arenas and coliseum, as well as club sports and intramurals are very popular as well. Part of our community is built on the fact that we have a 3-year requirement. So you live in community together. We have a 3-year requirement. The last year, your senior year, half of the seniors elect to remain on campus. I think that says a lot about what happens at Wake. Now, in terms of some of the other things that you have available to you, certainly there's a lot of support. We have academic support through different centers like the Writing Center, the Science Centers, the Math Center, the Academic Support Center. But we also have support systems and centers for people who find themselves in different places. We have, for instance, First in the Forest is for first-generation students. We have a Women's Center, Hillel Center. We have a lot of different ways, whether it's, it has to do with meeting students where they are. So whether it's your lived experience, whether it's, where you come from, what your background is, we kind of look at diversity in many different ways, and we support all different ways of being in the world. Undergraduate research is pretty key at Wake Forest. Students have opportunities to do research outside of class. You also get to study abroad. No one is told they can't study abroad, so you can start thinking about where you might want to study, whether it's somewhere far away or if maybe it's in one of the programs in DC or maybe even in San Francisco. We have 2 ways of applying, early and regular. The date of November 15th is the key one that you should remember. We do meet 100% of a family's demonstrated need. So please reach out to me, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have about Wake Forest.
Fantastic. Thank you, Wake Forest University. Okay, we are going to turn now to Simmons University. Whenever you are ready, take it away.
Hi, everyone. I'm Mary Pira, she, her pronouns. I'm one of the admission counselors over at Simmons University, and I'm just going to bring you up further north to Boston University, to the city of Boston. Boston University is after me, but we are Simmons. And I'm just going to try and give you some quick snapshots about who we are. Simmons is located right in the heart of Boston in the Fenway area. So if you're familiar with that, right down the street from the home of the Boston Red Sox. We are a small liberal arts institution, so we have an undergrad population of around 1,800 students. So if you're looking for that small liberal arts experience, but also having that best of both worlds situation of being in the city and having that access, that's who we are. So with a small undergrad population like that, you're looking at an average class size of 15 with a student to faculty ratio of 8:1. So you're going to get to know your professors, your professors are going to know you. So another kind of perk of going to a small school, but also being in the city. We do have a large graduate student population, and that is greatly due to the fact that we have a lot of accelerated course programs. So I'll dive into that in a moment. So a lot of our undergrads will accelerate straight into our graduate programs. And I will also show sort of a list of our 60+ majors and offerings. We are also, as I will continue to mention, being a part of Boston, there are 300,000 students in this entire city, which means this is a very student-centered city, and that's going to come with a lot of benefits. So with us with our location, you kind of see our little cupola insignia right here. Where we are is a really great jumping off point, really great access to the T. We're right next door to great areas of culture like the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum, the Museum of Fine Arts, both of which you would get into for free. And of course, a short T ride to places like the Boston Public Library. You have Newberry Street, the Boston Common, and the list goes on. So our students really choose how much they interact with the city. It really is tailored to the student, how much they spend on campus, how much they spend gallivanting throughout the city. So it's entirely what you would want it to be. So I'll have you take sort of a quick gander at our majors and minor offerings. Some of our more popularly known majors here would be subjects like our nursing program, our physical therapy program, social work, our library information technology. So especially if you're interested in going down those routes, we are very world renowned, especially within the health sciences. It is worth noting we are right within the Longwood medical area. So right down the street from Harvard Medical School, Boston Children's Hospital, Brigham and Women, Mayo Clinic, and the list goes on. So for students, especially in the nursing area, they're able to complete their clinicals in the Longwood medical area. Pre-med students, students are able to go off and do research and internships in that area, really at the best place in the world to be studying medicine. So you're going to be really integrated within that environment. As I mentioned, grad programs are also very much involved within the Simmons experience. So this is something to kind of consider as you're thinking about what you want to major in. But if you look in the top right-hand corner of my screen, you'll see our 3+1 programs. Those would be things that you would be applying for as a first year. So let's say you'd like to maybe major in econ or poli-sci. You could get your bachelor's in that within 3 years, and then for your 4th year, get your master's in public policy. So within that 4 years, you're ending up with 2 degrees. The same will apply to things like computer science. You could get your master's in library information science, as well as social work. There's also a straight pathway for that as well. We do also have our 3+3 physical therapy program. So for those that want to go directly into the straight track for physical therapy, that's what you would apply for. And then we also recently opened up a new program, which is our dual Bachelor of Science program with Columbia University. So essentially receiving a bachelor's in a STEM related field from Simmons, and then also receiving your bachelor's, another bachelor's from Columbia University in engineering. Another key aspect of being a Simmons student is that all of our students, as a requirement for graduation, have to participate in some form of real world learning, whether that be a clinical, a research project, a thesis project. All of that is within your grasp at some point within those 4 years. Programs already have that built into it, like with the nursing program, like with social work with their field work. And you're going to be heavily involved within the community in Boston specifically. So as I mentioned, with our nursing students having the opportunity to do clinicals in the area, but also because we are in Boston, students in all ranges of majors are able to explore different organizations, companies, nonprofits, and we become a really respected name within that circle of internships. And often students will pass on internships to other Simmons students because that's how much that particular place or company, like Puma you see here listed, they have a specific track where they only take on a Simmons student per year. So, students are really racking up that resume, and that's going to become very, very important as you're going through the college process. Is not only am I going to get a top-notch education here, but am I also going to be set up for success in the long run? And these are sort of the 3 attributes that you will sort of be instilled with that will kind of help you going forward out into the real world. I'll kind of end by saying, 1, you're going to be a fierce advocate for yourself. You're going to be a person who's ready to work and a leader, and leadership is a really major component. And you're going to gain that leadership, especially because we are a women's-centered institution, which if you contact me, I'll talk to you about all the benefits of it. Definitely reach out to me with all more details surrounding what you would need for the application. And we do have early action and regular decision deadlines. I am not the counselor for this area. I'm covering for my colleague, Denise Hueso Rosales. So her contact information is up there, but you can contact either of us, and we'd love to talk to you. And thank you, everyone.
Fantastic. Well, thank you, Simmons University. Okay, we're staying in Boston, but now we are going to hear from Boston University. Go ahead and take it away when you are ready.
All right, hi everybody. Eid Mubarak for those of you who are observing. My name is Ayn Naimi. I am Assistant Director of Admissions at Boston University and the rep to Chicago Scholars. This is one of my favorite programs. I've been with Chicago Scholars for 4 years, so I'm really excited to be here with you today and to give you a quick overview of Boston University. So hopefully, let's see, that looks good. So Boston University is a private research and teaching institution. We are located in the city of Boston, which you just heard a lot about. We're very fortunate to be in the city. There are a lot of aspects and attributes, as mentioned, to being in the city. But what makes Boston University unique is that its size. There are a little bit over 16,000 undergraduate students that attend Boston University. They're studying in our 10 different schools and colleges. Our largest college is the College of Arts and Science. It houses about 50% of the undergraduate population, and the rest of our schools and colleges are more pre-professional, so they're focused on a specific aspect of academics, like our Western School of Business, College of Engineering, and so on. So with that, there are about 300 different areas of study. There's basically anything that you can think of that's available at BU in the form of a major or a minor. So it makes our university a place for students to explore. Being undeclared is very popular. About 30% of our incoming class is usually undeclared. It's a really good place for you to find out what you like, what you are interested in, because of the variety of the academic offerings at our institution. I would say that the hallmark of the BU experience is not only variety, but also flexibility. So as a student, even if you are decided or you're pretty set in what you want to study, and then you get there and you're surprised by the number of offerings, you still have the flexibility to participate in these different aspects of BU. We are a liberal arts institution, so there is a liberal arts requirement or component to your degree. Usually when you think of liberal arts, it's a list of classes that you have to complete or take before you graduate. That is not the case at BU. What we have done, we've constructed a program called the BU Hub. And the hub is designed in a way that has 8 different learning competencies or goals that you're anticipated to achieve before you graduate. So when you go to register for your classes, specifically those that are related to the liberal arts, you will see what kind of learning goals are covered by your course selection. So it really gives you the power in picking courses that align best with what you want to study, with what you want to learn. You'll be forced to go out of your home school or college to interact with these different academic offerings, but then you're also working on that requirement of your degree. It encourages our students to go out of their home major and home school or college, meet new faculty. Sometimes from that, you have the opportunity to add on a minor or add on a major based on your interests. So the BU Hub program is very popular and a key component of the learning experience. In terms of majoring at BU, when you apply to us, you'll select one area of study, one of the schools and colleges, and then one of the majors under those schools and colleges. You can be undeclared under a school or college, or you can be undeclared overall, in which case we'll default you to the College of Arts and Science. But students have that ability to flow in between the different areas of study. All it takes sometimes is just changing it on your student portal. Sometimes you're encouraged to go and have a sit down with your academic advisor, but either way, there's a lot of flexibility in choosing what you want to study. In terms of academic advising, regardless of your path, you will have an academic advisor, and they're there to make sure that you are choosing a track that works best for you. So their number one mission is graduating in 4 years, but also doing it in a way that best aligns with what you have in mind for yourself. In terms of the academic environment itself, the average class size at BU is 27 students. Our faculty to student ratio is 1 to 10, and 70% of the courses that are offered at BU are capped at 30 students. So majority of the time you're in a classroom environment of 30 students or so, very small compared to the number of students that attend BU. That's because of all the different areas of study that we have. We are able to maintain a close, intimate learning environment for you while participating in that large campus experience also. The faculty themselves, they're world-renowned for what they do. A lot of them are experts in their fields. We also have faculty who are practicing professionals within the city of Boston that work in the morning and teach in afternoons as well. And it allows our students to really learn firsthand what it takes to be in their fields of disciplines. You have folks who are news writers, you have folks who are politicians, musicians who are in our classes and bringing their connections, but also their experience to our students. And I would say, from my experience, the phrase that I hear the most amongst BU students is we really want to be like our professors, not only because of the experience, but because of how personable they are. In all of my classes, the professors always share their cell phone numbers, which I think that's such a risk and a liability with students, but that's really the level of commitment that they have to our students to encourage them to be successful in their field. Outside of the classroom, there's a lot that happens. We are a tier 1 research institution. So if you think back to the BU Hub, one of those learning competencies is the ability to do research. So you're bound to do a research project for at least one of your classes while being at BU. And that doesn't have to be the form of test tubes and lab coats. Research can also be happening in the social sciences and things outside of the STEM fields as well. Study abroad is very popular amongst our students. About 40% of our undergraduates usually study abroad, either through a BU program or through other programs that are offered. And while you're abroad, you can do internships, or you can do them also in the city of Boston. They're a very key component of the BU experience. 91% of our undergraduates either do one or all 3 of these involvements that I mentioned to you. There's a lot more that we could tell you about BU, but being sensitive of time, I am your regional rep. I'll share my contact information in the chat with you folks. But if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out or also attend one of our virtual sessions for more information.
Great. Thank you so much, Boston University. We appreciate you being here. All right. We have, now we're going to turn to Bates College. I want to put one more plug out there for the Q&A function. There's still time to get your questions in, so please send them in. But now I'm going to turn it over to my colleague at Bates College. Take it away when you're ready.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, 1 second. First and foremost, I apologize. My name is Jared Rivers, and so we opened our campus at Bates about a month ago, and we're being asked to work 1 day a week. And today, lo and behold, was my day to work in the office. And unfortunately, I forgot my computer on campus. And so on top of that, I am like one of the least technologically sound people here in the office. And so not sure if you guys can see me or my screen.
We cannot see either. So now it looks like you're sharing your screen, but we don't see anything really pulled up yet. It's just the screen share screen.
Okay, so I will not share my screen. So I apologize to you guys, and I will do something very different in terms of a presentation. If you guys are anything like me, then you probably feel like this information is coming at you very fast, and in some ways it might be somewhat difficult to sort of decipher between, the differences between these institutions. And so I'm going to try to highlight information that I feel makes Bates unique in this group of institutions. For one, Bates was founded back in 1855 by abolitionists. So the people who were fighting to abolish slavery in the Americas are the very same people that founded Bates College back in 1855. It was the first co-ed college in New England. It was the second co-ed college in the entire country. And so they were actively recruiting women and students of color at a time when that was considered a very radical thing to do. So a very, very unique beginning. As a result, we have a very strong sense of inclusion and a very strong sense of community. In fact, 27% of our students will self-identify as students of color. Another 14% self-identify as first generation to college. We have students from all 50 states in nearly 70 different countries from around the world. So it's very much a diverse campus community. 95% of these students live on the Bates campus for all 4 years, something that the college guarantees. So it's very tight-knit in that respect. You're not going to get to know everyone, but you're going to get to know quite a few of the students in your 4-year experience. Of course, we're located in Lewiston, Maine. I would say being in the state of Maine makes us somewhat unique. They call Maine vacation land. They say Maine the way life's supposed to be. It's a beautiful state. When you think of Maine and New England, you think of the outdoors. There's lots of hiking and biking trails. We're a coastal state, so The coast is maybe 35 minutes down the road. And so we're in ski country. And so there's lots and lots of things to do. In fact, there are over 100 different clubs and organizations as it relates, to opportunities that students can get involved with on campus. Okay, it's very, very rigorous in terms of the academics. Popular majors would be economics, psychology, mathematics, politics, and environmental studies. In fact, Bates was initially one of 8 colleges in the country to meet its carbon neutral goal. And of those initial 8 that met its carbon neutral goal, that is to say it's 100% carbon neutral, Bates achieved that goal with the least amount of carbon neutral offsets. Okay, so environmental studies is a very popular major. We absolutely want our students to have a very well-rounded education. So there's not a core curriculum that every student will complete. There's sort of a handful of general education requirements, really ensuring that you're going to have a well-rounded education, but we're going to ask that you study in multiple areas before you graduate, okay? So you have a tremendous amount of academic freedom and flexibility as a student on the Bates campus to really shape your own academic pathway. Something else that's rather unique, or it used to be until the COVID pandemic, Bates was one of the first in the country to go completely test optional, something that they've been doing for almost the past 40 years. Only 40% of every incoming class submits test scores, SATs, SAT2s, or ACT scores. So do what's best for yourself. If you want to submit your testing, we will use that information before we make a final decision. If you don't submit testing, we're not going to penalize you in any way, shape, form, or fashion. In terms of financial aid, we meet 100% of financial need, and the average student indebtedness after being on financial aid at Bates for all 4 years is just under $13,000. The national average is much closer to $30,000 is my understanding. Okay, so the college has done a great job of addressing student indebtedness. Okay, so you're going to have a robust financial aid package if you're applying for admission and applying for financial aid, assuming you're admitted. We are, I believe, I believe we're the only school here that is a member of the NESCAC, the New England Small College Athletic Conference. By the way, we are a Division III NCAA institution, and we compete in this conference called the NESCAC. A lot of our athletic coaches might tell you that it's one of the most competitive Division III conferences in the country. So it's a world-class education while you pursue fantastic opportunities as a student athlete. With that said, I think I'm going to pause. Well, I will say we have 3 rounds of applications. There is ED1, there is ED2, and we have regular decision, of course. If you apply through early decision 1, everything needs to be in by November 15th. You'll get that decision in mid-December. If you apply through ED2, everything needs to be in by January 1. You'll get that decision in mid-February. And then our regular decisions go out in the 3rd week of March, okay? With that said, I will pause there. And again, apologize for not having video for you guys.
No problem. Thank you so much for your ability to be flexible during a challenging time. We appreciate that information, Bates. All right, I'm going to ask all of my colleagues to join me on screen here. We have time for 1 question, so we're going to go ahead and take advantage of having all of these experts in one place. The question I want to ask everyone is, what advice would you give someone going through the college search process? We're going to go in the same order, so I'll ask my colleague at Cornell College to kick us.
My biggest piece of advice as you're applying to college is to don't pretend to be the person that you think colleges want. Be the person who you authentically are, and you will find the right college for you.
Wonderful. Thank you. Great answer. Okay, American University.
Yeah, my advice is to apply wide. Don't count yourself out of any type of school, location, cost of school. If it's of interest to you, apply. You never know what's going to happen. So don't limit yourself just because you think you won't get in. Apply to any school that sounds interesting to you.
Great advice. Thank you. Wake Forest University.
I would certainly echo that and say, dream big and think about what you want for the next 4 years, but certainly reach out to the representatives at the school to learn more about what the school can do for you.
Absolutely. That's why everyone's here, right? Okay, Simmons University.
Yeah, so one of my key points I like to make is just start working on your college essay as soon as possible. It's not meant to torture you. It's meant to really help you in the process. And, start sooner rather than later. Start brainstorming. I love talking about college essays. Reach out to your reps and ask for advice. And you're really going to save yourself a lot of time and energy, once you reach closer to the fall time when all those deadlines start approaching. So start the process now this summer. Start thinking about it, and you'll thank yourself later.
Absolutely. It'll be here before we know it. Okay, Boston University, your advice?
My advice would be use your additional information section. That's the one that I read the most, actually almost a little bit more than your essays sometimes, because it provides me context that might be missed either in your letters of rec or your other supporting documents. Anything that you think is missing or we need to know to fully consider you, please go ahead and use that additional information section.
Great tip. Thank you, Boston University. All right. I know Bates College, you talked about this during your presentation, but do you want to close us out with one piece of advice here? Oh, and you're muted.
I'm a big believer that life is what you make of it, and that your undergraduate experience, the very same thing is true. It's what you do wherever it is you choose to go or wherever it is you end up that will make the biggest difference. We admission counselors sometimes have a way of making you feel like all of your hopes and dreams are hinged to our institution. But again, it's what you're going to end up doing wherever it is you end up going that will make the biggest difference. And in a lot of ways, our institutions would be fortunate to be a part of your future success. So just remember that.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you so much. Again, we appreciate all of your expertise in this virtual room here at once. And I know I certainly learned a lot. I hope everyone else here did as well. Before we wrap it up here, I just want to remind everyone that there's 2 more sections taking place immediately after this. So we hope you'll join 2 more sessions to learn about some additional information. Make sure that you did sign in. If you need that sign-in sheet at your next session, just ask your facilitator. They can give you that. When you close your screen today, you are going to get a very quick 4-question survey. Any information that you can provide about our event will be most useful. And then last but not least, this session, along with all of the others, are being recorded both today and tomorrow. You can find those recordings in about a week at strivescan.com/Chicago Scholars. Thank you again, everyone. Have a wonderful rest of the event. Take care now. Bye-bye.